Alright. Okay guys, easy. Can everyone's read that? So I think today was just pretty important to break down like surfing pattern. Okay, so when we talk about surfing patterns, so patterns mean everything what we're doing as a human. Now when we talk about squats, lunges, push, pull, exercise as a human, you know? And then how we can translate into surfing and what are we looking to improve the surf. Okay, for me it's like my difference to be a big, all the surf coaches, they have like the experience to surfing for many years, competing. My experience is just bring the science behind and I just break down how the body biomechanics work and why sometimes I cannot improve certain things. Now, I have to surf all the time. Yes, it's one thing, but sometimes your surf don't be growing because certain things like that don't being worked properly. Okay, my body's too tight. My shoulder's too tight. I cannot paddle stronger. My paddling is very poor. I have this shoulder impingement all the time. I have tight neck. When I'm doing duck dive, always I get a cord from the wave, or even when I'm doing my takeoff, I stop on the top of the wave. So things like that, when we break down the body mechanic, we find a lot of issues there, and all these issues can be improved to translate inside in the water and get your performance better. Okay, but the most important thing is always practice the sport. It's nothing will beat if you don't spend at least 20-30 minutes, a couple of days a week, paddling, surfing, being out there. So I break down between paddling, takeoff. A lot of people will call pop-up. Talk about the bottom turn, speed and turn. So it's kind of like a little sequence. I have a paddling to catch the wave. I have gear ready to take off. I need to go down the bottom turn. I need to come in or get the speed happen to come in through the bottom turn and apply the top turn. Okay. So little issues, what we get to each movement. All right, so let's talk in quick paddling. Let's start off paddling. All right, so I break down a little bit quick for you guys to understand. We put in issues. So first we talk about poise strength. Sometimes the shoulder, legs don't have a good strength there. Okay, so we need strength all the area. So we talk about triceps as well. We talk about biceps. All the lats around the shoulder blades, so we talk about rhomboids, all the muscles around the scapulas. So people doesn't know what scapula is a shoulder blade. Okay, tight shoulder. Sometimes when we talk about tight shoulder, it's like, oh, my arm not even getting close to my knees. I have to try to reach a little bit up with my arm. A good test to see if your shoulder tight or not, and if you carry the hand and can touch your scapula in the back, the opposite side. If you cannot touch, you need to start to work on some shoulder mobility to improve the range of motion of the joints. And that's improve a bit more from strength for paddling for power. Okay, a tight joint don't let you deliver a lot of power, don't let you deliver speed, don't let you deliver a good capacity. Okay. So things like that we break down. Other thing is low capacity. So low capacity, we talk about the fitness part as endurance and conditioning into the muscle of the movement pattern. Okay. So how we can improve that? One good exercise to improve, create a lot of confidence for paddling, swimming. Okay. So one big thing, like if you wanna get your paddling conditioning way better, swimming it's a good thing. If you can hit the pool once a week, doing a couple laps, improving that, get all these tools all together, your paddling pattern from here. Go ahead.
How long do we have to swim? And which kind of swimming? Just like
Crawl.
So swim is just crawling, freestyle. Okay, it's good you have a good technique. And when we talk about how long, think about case. Let's give an example. Okay, meters. Okay, so 1,000 meters, 1,500. The more you can hit every time you go for training, you improve the capacity. Okay, so you might go the first time on the pool and then say, oh, I could do only like 500 meters. I was exhausted. My arms was dying, my shoulder was burning out. I couldn't do it any more than 500 meters. It's okay. That's the first time. Okay, so you can come the second week. You can try to 600 meters, 800 meters. If you can good to start, if you can put into 1,500 to start, it's awesome. If you get 1,500 and build up for 2,000, some week you can get into 3,000. Tom, how many Ks you swim a week?
I just do 2 sessions, but I do it with a squad. Because when we do it with a squad, we can do more. If you do it by yourself, a little bit harder to
Motivate.
And
be pushed.
But I do with a squad. I do about 600 meters, maybe. I mean 6,000.
Okay, that's better. No, 600 meters.
6,000.
6K.
6
kilometers, 6
A
or
week.
7 a week.
A week.
Okay.
So divide it in 2 days.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I build the capacity. Yeah, by doing it with others
Tom, do you do ocean or the pool?
in the pool.
Okay.
So at the pool you can deliver them more capacity first. Fear, be comfortable, water conditioning, be warm. It's all the tools to make yourself happy to do it.
But I don't just do straight one speed. I do a break up. We break it up into sprint work and then cardiovascular capacity work to intensity. So we do it, say, 200 meter rest.
Yeah.
200 meter rest, say 3 200s, which is 600 meters, and then we'll do 4 100s, and that will be 1,000 meters, but with a gap of rest in between.
It's
So
break
we
it
don't-
down then.
Yeah, we don't just do,
Constant.
because what
Constant,
happens
yeah.
is the body gets used to it, and then if you do,
You're losing.
yeah, if you do
to
like
change.
a month of maybe 2 sessions a week, you'll feel good, you'll feel better, but after a while, the body starts to stabilize in the activity and it gets dull.
You get at the plateau.
Yeah, the plateau hits
And
the
then you
plateau.
don't you hit the plateau, it don't improve from that. And then like the way Tom say, it's the same when you're doing any kind of training. Okay, just if you pick example, when I program my clients, my athletes, we have the program what you should do it for 4 weeks, or after 4 weeks, 6 weeks, we change the program for a new program because we stimulate, change the stimulus, what you're getting through the program to improve and you keeping build up.
The body loves the change.
Yeah, it's the same as like food. If you have the same breakfast every day, your body, your guts never change, never recycle that or never detoxing. So it's very important to like every 2-3 days have a different breakfast or a different meal. Don't get stuck on the same food every single day. You know, that's we human. That's the way we work. Even like when we talk about detoxing, losing weight, losing fat burning, build up more resistance to the body. That's what happens. We have to change foods as well. Training, same thing. To build up into what Tom doing between 2 sessions a week, 6 Ks. It's really really good. You know, like you don't need to. If you can hit once a week, you can look to ice plays around you where you can score. You wanna learn to surf or swimming. you want to improve your swimming pattern, you can go and, I'm not sure if Nick doing that. People,
What's that?
your brother, he's training other different people, which
Oh,
is
yeah,
athletes.
we have a number of different people turn up for the squad,
Yeah.
and they're all like surf lifesaving guys.
Yeah,
and girls.
so that's what happened. You need to create a capacity in the swimming, and that will help you a lot. For many years, I educate like athletes, or even I call it domestic athletes, us. Okay, we need to get into the swim, and swim is a massive benefit. Lung
Yeah,
capacity.
Like capacity, less joint impact. So if you're used to running, you'll find running's okay, but the impact. And if you haven't got a light style in running, you'll start to jar certain parts of the lower lumbar, and that's not so good for surfing. We're already sort of stressing the body. So it's nice to do the swimming, just also for the rhythmic pattern of your breathing and getting into rhythm with the body, and it has a meditative effect.
Yes,
on the
as
system.
well. Yeah, and then like create a lot of confidence to you. To be like today, a lot of waves on the head, or like if you're getting a good swell with long period, is gonna come in, and you wanna keep paddling. If you've been swimming, you create this confidence to don't give up. Your shoulder, your legs, your lungs, you'll be prepared for that.
And on top of that is to develop the capacity to recover
Yes.
quicker from the situation,
Yeah.
from the wave, even inside the session. So the capacity to recover from when you paddle out and there's another wave. Oh, I feel better. I can
Yeah.
surf. I'm not out there. Oh shit! I need a rest. You actually.
I can
go
do it.
again. Yeah.
It's
kinda
kinda like
nice
you-
feeling.
Duck dive, and then I'm tired now. I'm gonna get a smash.
When you swim, it's 1 hour of just freestyle.
No,
I
just
do-
break it down.
I do mostly. I do some backstroke on top, just in the rest. Sometimes you do say 10, 50 meters, and we do say two sort of reasonable speed with a long break between, and then we do two with a little bit more speed, shorter break, and we get closer to the 10, we make it more intense, and the last two fast. And then after that we have a little cool down, maybe 100 meter cool down, and I'll do that 100 meters backstroke.
Yeah.
So I sort of swap the muscles around, and I just cruise, take it really slow, nice and slow, and then come back, and then we're ready again to go.
Yeah, it's all built up on the session length. The session is gonna be 1 hour session. It's like I done a lot of swim coaching, trial coaching back in London, back to Brazil and Spain. And then we break down, like let's say if you build like 1,000 meters training to die, so we're gonna, okay, in the first 200 meters, you're going freestyle, but just relax to warm up the body.
Very relaxed.
Okay, very relaxed warm up. After that, we're going 100 meters, just legs. Okay, we get the board, kick, and work on the breathing pattern, how you're breathing when you swim. So hold the board, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's all different exercise we use and break down during one session. Okay, so after the 100 meters, and I say, okay, well, yeah, stroke, backstroke, okay, let's go to breaststroke as well, to feeling the glide in the body. Alright, let's do today 50 meters sprints. Okay, so you're gonna do a big sprint 50 meters. When you get in the ends, you're gonna rest 1 minute there, and you're gonna do another 50 meters. You're going as hard as you can. So when you're doing like trains like that, you build more capacity for the lungs. It's harder, but it's kind of like it's new life. You get out so exhausted of the training, but at the end of the day, on the next day, you feel so much light, so much relaxed, you know. And when you go for surf, you have the same feeling. You don't get too scared of the waves. Your capacity is there. So big thing, if you want to improve your paddling, go towards to swim. Okay, it's one part. Definitely we can improve the power paddling. Use some training, some mobility work, some weights training as well. But it's a complement from that. But if you can hit, if you're too busy, you cannot hit the gym as well. At least one to start with and build up to two if you can. Otherwise, if you get a good balance once a week, you'll be perfect for life. Okay? Because when we're doing the training, even the weights and the shoulder, that helps in two things. Not only help you into your paddling, but it will help you improve in your swim. So in the first month you swam like 1.5, and you start feeling stronger even with the mobility working, if with strength training happening there, connection there. You're gonna get the next month say, wow, my swim is better. And when the surfing comes, when I know I have a big trip, if I'm going to Mentawais, Bali, I try to twice a week going to swim pool as well. You know, right now I don't been doing much. I'm missing so much, but I have some like Tom. I'm doing at least once a week to twice. So once a week I'm doing swim training. The other day I'm doing apnea training. Okay, so we're doing swimming a lot under water, breaking, doing armor box training, pushing hard with dumbbells for 500 meters to 1,000 meters. But it's all high intensity and relaxed, different drills, but that helped me so much. Not only improve my surf, but improve for everything what I do. Okay, if some days I'm going to do some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'm feeling relaxed. I'm not puffed. If I'm going to ride a bike, I'm good. As Tom's saying, when we talk about cardio, everyone's has in the mind, I need to run. Okay, I need to run straight away. And for surfer running, or for us, running is the hard thing to have in the body, because really smash the joints. Okay, it's this sport you have a lot of compression on the top. There's a lot of impact on the hips, on the pelvic floor, on the knees, and then if you start to get a lot of problem in that area, can really dysfunction your spine as well, lower back pain, middle back pain, neck pain, because it's all connected. Alright, so when I break down and we talk build up capacity in swimming, tight shoulders all the time. Okay, so joints, what do you work when a paddling pad now? We will talk about shoulders. We talk about scapula. So scapula is the shoulder blade here in the back. So if I lift, and that's the scapula. Tom, can you come in here, please, for 1 second? Okay. Turn your back, please, for everyone. So that's the scapula. Okay, it's a very important part of the body for a lot of stuff. Pull, push. Okay, and then sometimes they don't connect, they are dropping that way, and that's how we create postures as well. So that's why you have to pull, connect. So even when it turn, put the arm up, the scapula sink down and stay there. Okay, so we create more mobility across the area to create more movement, and the big one, connect both scapulas together. They are related into the movement, because a lot of people, many years of being like assess people, posture assessments, they have the tendency, one spine here, one scapula that way, that is scapula down. So it's a common thing, you know, and then we have to work on the muscle and mobility across there to make sure we don't have middle back pain, or neck pain because they all connect. Thanks, no? Okay. So other part of we talk about joints, the thoracic. Thoracic is just the middle of the back. Okay. So the area where we get so tight behind a computer all the time. Okay. And then when the area is also connect the lungs as well. So we need to get a bit more open and create more freedom. You can create a lot of neck pain because of a lot of pressure in the middle. And twist as well in the trunk. Sometimes the thoracic is so tight there. Cool. The cervical area. We need to work, strengthen muscles around the cervical, the neck. For don't have that neck pain. Every time you pedal, you hear, you start to put a lot of pressure. And that's why we get it. Because you're overusing your shoulder, and all the muscles of the shoulder and the joints, they are connected to the neck. So work, what do we have to do then? We have to create a bit more mobility across the joints and all the part of the joints we have in the body on the paddling pattern. We need to connect them together. So a lot of exercise we do it. We connect the muscles talking together when you're doing the movement. Create the capacity across the movement. What do you have to do? So when we talk about the swimming, and create more strength around the muscles. The muscles need to be awake, stronger, to keep the joints on the spot. Alright? So we call, like we have a pull pattern. So everything when we pull, that's when we're thinking about paddling. Okay, when we swim, I pull, I pull, I pull. Okay, that's a pull pattern. Cool. Any question of paddling there, guys? No? So paddling will talk, yes.
So, like say if you join the gym, I haven't for a while, you're pretty slack on that. But you should look for more for like strength works, and if you get too bulky, it will do
No,
exercise in its favor.
Not really. Like that's what everyone's hand in mind. That's old style surfing used to have. If you're going to the gym, I'm gonna get a big muscle bulk. Alright? And no, it's a specific exercise for that. I have a lot of programs for paddling, pop-ups, and 12 weeks of development. Or you falling under my program, you have the strength. You're not bulking, you tone the muscles. You be anything when you start training, it tone. And actually we have Tom here. Tommy was the first surfer talk about gym. Yeah, he tried to do aerobics. He tried to do the first guy lift weights to improve his surf when he got into his world title. And that's what he looked into. So if you know what type of training you are doing and what you're going to put it towards what you need to, you'll be fine. If you have the right programs to work with, you'll be fine. Okay? So that's the big one.
By the way, sorry, I was like a teenager, I read an article with you and some Australian Surfing Life about exactly that and your fitness and leg strength, and it was so much of that that actually started me trying to build some strength. I was telling these guys, you also mentioned brown rice. I started eating brown rice. But yeah, because he was because it was a pioneer, like all these Australian surfers that were just kind of out there partying or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember
Mark Richardson's classic. He goes, what are you doing, Tom? Like, I started swimming. He goes, okay, yeah, good. And this is a long time ago. Yeah, and he goes, I do a little bit of swimming before Hawaii. And Mark's so gracious, he's such a gracious person. And he goes, but I just eat pie and drink Coke. he's like, I don't know what he's talking about there. He's so classic. And I'm like, no, you can improve by putting that food in. And he's just like puzzled. He's like, he goes, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a long time. And if you remember the time we talk about bulking, probably like Tom was one of the fitter ones, the short, stocky, getting there. and then when he's going to his paddling as well, stand up paddle across. It's important. Okay, why we strengthen muscle? Because we try to create stability on the joints as well. So we not only like create a mobility, but we need strong muscle to keep the joints on the spot and create more power when we paddle, when we get in the legs. And let's say today, if you got it one way from the point, way down the bottom, you're gonna, oh, my legs killing today. Okay, because you need that resistance, the capacity of the muscle and body be able, okay, well, I'm stuck, I'll come back for another one. I want another one. And you're gonna come back out
And
there.
imagine if the surf got better this afternoon.
Oh,
And then you're like, oh. And then tomorrow morning it was pumping again. Like we have these opportunities to take advantage of the joy that we get from surfing.
yes. So when we're able, we condition for that, we surf. But who get it tired? You're gonna sleep, you're gonna nap, we're gonna paddle. Less people, less crowd, and we can paddle around, you know? So we keep paddling. It's just like we're getting the frothing happening. And that's why we get into training to improve all the parts, to enjoy more, be able to do more. Even when we're going to Indonesia, or we're going to Maldives, and then so glassy, so perfect. And then, oh, I get one and say, oh, I'm here 1 hour. Oh, no. And then look, oh, I'm here 3 hours. I'm keen for another 30 minutes. But sometimes you're doing that for one day, the next day, oh, my joints are so inflamed. My legs so burn. Today I might have a rest, and the surf is pumping. Now I don't want to miss that. So I want to be able to do 2-3 sessions a day. You know, so that's what happened in parts of get the right program, what to do it to increase your capability to surf more, enjoy more what you love to do it. But we're talking specific for surfing, but it's everything what we do in life. You know, everything. That's why we ended up talking about longevity. We wanna get a peak and be able to do things what we love to do for when we 70, 80, you know, and still be there.
So Rob,
Oh, he's not that old guy in the surf again? Oh my
really
God.
important to your paddling.
Very important.
Yeah. So to sort of work through the lats, like do elections,
Rows.
the rows.
Yeah.
With the exercise
Yeah.
things. So those
The
rows,
cable
and lat pull
rolls,
downs.
lat pull downs,
Yeah.
ring pulls, bend rolls with dumbbells as
Wood row,
well.
wood
Yeah.
rows. Yeah.
A good machine I like in the gym and I have on my clinic. It's really good to increase the capacity and getting more speed into paddling is the rowing machine. Okay, rowing machine give you big legs, helps a lot to strengthen the shoulder and the middle back. But same thing, you just need a good posture over there. Okay, the legs too. Wow, massive endurance to the legs. A lot of like actually come there. But it's good. It's harder, but it's good. Usually, like said, athletes coming, we work in 2 periods. What for capacity? How much if they able to hit 2Ks, so 2,000 meters on the rowing machine, and if they get 8 minutes, I try to break down that for 7 minutes, and we go from that. And then when we want to create a bit more speed power there, we try to work like 30 seconds sprints on the rowing machine. 30 seconds in, 1 minute rest, 30 seconds in, 1 minute rest. Okay, so if you don't have time to go into the pool, you can start to hit a little bit the rowing machine. But if you live close by the pool, if you can do it, do it. But yes, we need to activate a lot of lats. Okay, because if your lats doesn't work properly as well, it can increase a lot of neck pain, shoulder pain, and middle back pain. They have to activate it. Okay, they are connected to your triceps, and triceps and that part of that. It's very important when I'm doing pulls. They work very well. Cool. Clear now on paddling? Yeah. Any more questions? Move on. All right. Big one. I think a lot of people struggle on that one. Okay? It's a big one. So it's funny, I have a story here, like everyone's put it as a marketing, Instagram, they put out there, they call pop-up. Okay? And then I had a chat with Brad Garlish, and then we Garlic.
Brad Garlic. Yeah.
Garlic. Yeah.
Did you know Brad Garlic?
Yeah.
No.
He does a wonderful program called Wave Key.
Oh.
Wave Key.
Yeah.
You can do it online with him. It's a really well thought out program to improve all aspects of the surfing.
Yeah, it's
Very-
work a lot on neuroplasticity. So it's like when we talk about
Very
movement,
beneficial.
thinking, he guide you a lot. It's really good.
I use some when I teach my bronze. I've got a bunch of kids, and it really helps them.
helps. So it's all about creating information. Think about the information when you do it. You know? So I done a lot of training with Brad, and then we chat, and he said, "Rod, that's no pop-up. That's a takeoff. That's a takeoff, and that's always a takeoff. It's a takeoff. Okay, that's what happened. No, it's a pop-up. No, it's not pop-up. It's a takeoff, Rod. I said, cool, it's a takeoff. Yeah. And then he coming with all like big California accent. Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, love it. Let's do it. So we break down the takeoff, and then the big thing is part as the issues. Sometimes slow to doing the takeoff on top of the board. So move your body towards to stand up position. Take too long, you get stuck on top of the wave, you lose it. Sometimes you too much in the bottom, you lose it totally the wave. Okay, you let the wave pass. What you forget about a big thing, feeling the gliding, when the board gliding to get the right time to take off. Okay, but when we talk about that, what makes us very slow, the tightness make it slow, and strength. So when you talk about tightness, we talk about mobility, and big things when we talk about mobility. When we're gonna talk now, the joints, we're gonna talk about hip, ankle, thoracic, and shoulder. Okay, so thoracic, when we talk about thoracic, if you don't have this space when you come up with your body coming forward, no. So when you put yourself on the position, if I'm going down and I'm here, if I'm gonna push myself up, my thoracic here, I need to get the space. So I'm going in, pull back. If you don't have that creation, like of the space, it will be hard to move. But be faster, put yourself on top of the board faster. So tight hips don't let you move as well, because so tight you get stuck on a move or apply the movement forward. Or even when you have to drag. So if I bring my hip here, I'm tight and I cannot go forward. So my knee cannot pass because my hip is very tight there. Okay. Tight ankle is coming in the parts when the foot position when you come up, and a lot of people have the tendency to hit the toes or the big toe when going for the pop-up. That happened with you, Alex? Yep. So sometimes that what happens. So the leg cannot move straight forward, and you start to hit the board with your toes because you don't have this open area around your hip to let you come forward. And then toes in the back, the ankle, they are very tight. So if I'm here, here. Sometimes that kick it, you move here, you kick, you lose, you ended up very small stance, you're on the back of the board and you fall. Lose.
So how do you increase that first thing, like where your back goes like a snake?
Yeah, well, how we increase that? We doing exercise to increase mobility. Okay, to increase the mobility, going across the shoulders. So when you talk about scapulas, so that movement when you get that position. Okay, So when we increase the mobility across that, we can increase a little bit flow and connection. But it's one after the other. So if you have to break down that, so let's say we need in first ankle, hip, thoracic, shoulder to happen the flow. Okay? So I build up some exercise because we don't be doing a hard session in the afternoon, you are able to practice this exercise to get a bit more improvement as a body weight exercise. You know? So more you practice, more you flow, more you can improve and create more space and freedom to put it in.
I like, just to interject, like what Brad does in his program, is when we practice it in his program, is to do it really slowly. Say on the floor in your gym or inside your house or whatever, and that is to do it very, very slowly. And one thing I found very interesting, and you were talking about the thoracic area, is when when we get up on a surfboard, and quite often a big mistake is when we talk about pop-up, we tend to go
Take off.
like that, like that, and when we do that, we put the weight backwards,
Backwards.
back,
Yes.
and then you lose time because the board's pulling back, and then the wave's going forward, so the weight goes back, and you lose time, and then all of a sudden, like you've lost about a few seconds, maybe a second or two, and then you've got to get yourself up from even more weight going back. And then by the time you get up, the wave wants to go. So we've lost the momentum and it becomes clunky. When we go up and we have our head down and we pull up like this, very slowly. So
Sorry,
we
where
make
do you put your head when you're doing that? So it's
down.
just
So the head is,
put down.
yeah, you like already seeing, paddling, watching, know which way we're going, down, like that. And so we're more forward and we're ready to go down and then extend down the bottom turn. Ride the top of the wave.
And that's what we're going to
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah.
On the takeoff, we're going to next bottom turn and how we.
But some people sometimes can see them they are waiting 1 or 2 seconds like this.
Yeah.
Because you wanna just feel that
Yeah.
you engage
Inertia.
with the,
And there's time.
But you don't see that first, like you always have the feeling when you watch the pro
Mm.
that they're doing like that instead of like that. You don't see the back going down.
Because they put a little bit pressure on the board as well,
Yeah.
for the board sit and wave and the nose don't come up.
And they're
Because
gonna
that's
come
one
up
thing you
really
can lose as well.
Smooth. They're going to come up really smoothly and in the one spot.
Yeah.
They will get up and they're down here like this. You can see from the get-go, even if they're falling on a late drop, they'll be taking off like this and then they'll extend.
Yeah.
Or they'll go down like this into and then extend.
And that's the other thing
That's
what
it.
Tom's just saying. When you take off, when we talk about bottom turn, we get the momentum going down. When you take off, you compress because you're going down. If you stand up, stand up. That's how you fall. You lose your stability on top of the board,
Yeah.
and boom, you lose the wave because the timing. So that what happened all the time. My job, okay, I'm going to stand. No, is I'm going. When I'm going, I'm here, take off, I'm put the wide because I'm going down straight away in the bottom turn and I start to look into the speed, depending how the wave, what are we looking to, you know? So that's a big one. One exercise I like to show everyone when we're doing practice to make it much easier to happen is, I call it scorpion walking, and we call is improvement for the pop-up. So open that cage, okay? So pretty much when we're gonna go here, we're gonna put in one leg up, okay? That leg, I'm twist. I bring it towards to my chest. I see I open. I try to put the foot in the middle of my hand. That's when I slide my hand forward, up. I try to bring the knee again towards my chest. I step that and slide. So things, simple exercise can be hard, but not many people can put the foot in the middle of the hand. So I bring the exercise when I made it, so we can flow that to increase the mobility, the stretch. And we go into straight away ankle mobility, hip mobility, thoracic mobility, shoulder, scapular mobility. That's what we work on. So we can do it again. So if I'm here up, so I'm gonna throw that, I'm gonna come with my chest. So I move and I try to step in the middle, my hands. For over that, I'm gonna slide my hand again. I'm going up, up, in, and out. As a complement exercise, I show a lot of people, we call the dive jump. So we're going in, we dive, we up, we jump forward. I try to create more like mobility across my hips, and I try to create that wave into my spine when I go way down. So exercise like that can be easy apply to at home, whatever you want to, and improve the art.
Question,
Yes.
take off, ankle, how is your back fit has to finish? How does it work? Yes, like this, but
One
you
exercise.
start like
So
this.
why start that?
Yes.
So I'm
And then-
gonna pull
Yeah.
in. So depends sometimes. I try to keep the back foot on the back, on the patch.
You know what
Okay.
And flat.
happens
Yeah,
sometimes?
flat that. No, I just move in that way. So we get. If I'm going flat, I don't want you going as a squat position. That's what everyone's okay. Take
Because that
over
exercise
and
is
everyone's.
tippy toes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we want to drop a little bit inside. You go into speed when we talk about speed and the lever of the hip. So you bend, in. And we need to create that mobility there. Seven and a half. We have Tom.
Hey Rod,
It's light.
what, like, sometimes I take off, pop up, and you get the wrong foot in place. And I find it so hard to, you see like the guys, especially the two riders, they walk on the board. How the fuck do you do that?
Oh well, but that's Tom can explain that. Like for me, it's just adjust. So when you ride a barrel, sometimes you bring the back foot a little bit more. If it be a big board, you adjust in the middle. No, Tom? Or sometimes.
Yeah, it depends on the board.
Depends on the
Depends on
board.
many
Yeah.
different things, but yeah, shuffling. I particularly my style. I tend to move my back foot more than my front foot.
Mm.
So my front foot comes forward and goes back. Depending if I'm, going to do a back end bottom turn like today when I've only got a small board, so I'm adjusting small adjustments, and I want to get further on the tail to get a tight turn. I just move my foot back a little bit, and if I want to get down the section, I just move forward a little bit.
Bring the weight.
Yeah, and it's very rare that I move my front foot. It moves subtly around, but this is the big movement.
Yeah.
It's such a small board today. But if I was yesterday when I was riding a longer board,
Yeah.
I had more room to move up on the curve of the board, the front, and in those ways, it felt nice to move a little bit forward to sort of get up on underneath it. There's a bit of concave underneath the front foot, and I can glide on that concave. So,
Depends on the board.
yeah.
And like the front
Very much.
foot always gives you a lot of stability as well. Now if you miss the front foot or bring back, the board can come up a bit. If you step too much just in the front, you open too much your stance and you go nose dive, but Tom is the best saying. The back foot always. I'm the same. Always, if I get the wave, like today was a little bit fat, I always try to glide more. I put in pressure there, I bring it down one, I close my leg, kind of like a longboard style, I compress, I got the speed happening, I come back. So,
Yeah. Generally using the design of the tail with the back foot and the fins, you're going pressuring the fins more with the back foot.
but it's all depends on the boards as well. If you have a big board with conditioning, but you try to work on that. Any question, guys? Pop up, take off. So when we talk about all this stuff, we talk about mobility, connection with the flow of the movement. Sometimes it's not just doing the mobility you apply, but it's important to understand what the flow when we have the better mobility. So that's one thing. And strength. Strength is always important to have on the hips and the legs. That when we're talking to deliver more power, even when we're doing the takeoff, and you are able to compress, that's where you go to the next part for the bottom turn. Okay? When we get it through the bottom turn and issues we're going through the bottom turn, a lot of people forget it or don't doing the compression, and that's the time we sometimes we have to compress to get the power from the bottom. No?
If you are very low, how do you compress? If you are
If
very
you're
low.
already there.
If you were, you compressed already.
Even a little slightest little bit of
Change.
movement is a lot.
It's a lot on the
Yeah.
board. You have to think the board is like very, they have a lot of sensibility, and you have to use that, and that's how about you have to feel it, getting like the glide, the flow, feeling your board and your feet. Sometimes you're just doing like that, the board can skip it away from you, and this is like a little one, and sometimes okay, I need to sometimes compress a little bit more to get into more power. Even guys when they're doing like the goofies, Tom, I see Gabriel Medina, he going way compressed to come back way up to hit on the top and come back. That's what they drive a lot there. Tightness, we talk about sometimes a lot of people cannot compress, they always stay like that because they cannot get a 9 degree or they cannot go in deeper because they don't very tight around the hips. So a lot of mobility through the joints. So we talk about the femur, we talk about different muscles around when we talk about adductor muscles, tight gluteus, IT bands around, they don't let work very well. Okay, and I say, okay, go, compress, and you're still here. You take off the wave and you're still here. Now, I want to really compress. So you bring your body way down. Sometimes some people say compress, people do this. Compress and then straight away. Okay? Why? Because they don't have the flow, they don't have the connection, and sometimes the posterior chain of the body it is weak. They don't connect properly. So joints, hip, ankle, knee, shoulder. Okay? Ankle sometimes no, it's the basement of your body. Think about a house. If you have a bad basement, your house is gonna be like that. Your body's the same with the ankle. Tight ankle can give you a lot of knee pain, can create a lot of instability on your knee, can create tight ribs as well, and give you lower back pain. Okay? I cannot squat. You see a lot of people doing squat and they have the tendency to do this, or they're going doing this when they're doing squats, or I cannot go tight ankle, weak gluteus, tight hips. So one related to the other. Okay. Knee. So knee, we're talking more instability. Okay. So one little test I will do with everyone. Okay. Stand up, everyone, please. Make sure you have a space between each other, but don't punch each other. Okay. All right. So everyone, choose one foot. Slowly bend. Get the other leg up. Close your eyes and try to be stable there. Feeling the shake, feeling the twist, keep your eyes closed, keep in there. See, feeling that shake on the ankle, stay there, keep your eyes closed, I say don't open your eyes, keep it. And stop, open your eyes, change side now, let's go to the other side. Bend the knees, slide and close and stay there, work. So one leg, slide, bend your knee. Feeling that cramp around the foot, or the toes, the ankles shaking. Ah! Stay there, keep your eyes closed, stay there. Knees dropping side, ankles going outside. Don't open your eyes, don't cheating. And relax the legs. Alright, next one, next test. I explain. Put the leg up, change the leg again. Let's try to do single leg squat. And back. Just shrink, Tom. Bend the knee back.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. Try. Doing 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now swap the legs to the other side. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. Everyone's have a sit. How was that?
Yeah, both clothes totally changes the game.
Easy.
Totally.
Well, it's a big thing is why I close the eyes. We try to close one of the senses of the body to give the sign where we want to test how we can react from that. Okay, so that's how we talk about the nervous system. Okay, but even when we're doing a single leg, if you're feeling the knees going side a lot, there's two things: tight ankle, weak glutes. That's one thing we're looking to improve it for knee pain, back pain, or even improve your stance on top of the surfboard. Okay, so that's a big one. Okay, so that's where we talk about tight ankle, or even when you're going to compress, take off, or you have that instability happen, you know, because the sensibility of the board, it's there, but if you're not solid in your foot, you can scale. No, or even sometimes you're doing one turn, one foot slide, you want to recover and come back. If the instability not being happening there or don't have the mobility, you lose the weight. Cool. So what we're gonna apply? We're gonna apply mobility across the joints to improve that. We're gonna create stability for the ankle, the knee, the hip. We're gonna deliver more strength, and definitely we're gonna put some flow back. So what you understand that that's what we're doing. That's all the part when we're doing the training, and after that we try to translate into your top surfboards when I get into the surfing coaching. Okay, you understand a bit more, or you can get your skateboard to practice and compress. You know, speed is a big thing, and we need to create this speed to apply the maneuvers. Correct, Tom? If you don't have the right speed, it will be hard to get the right timing to hit the lip, or to pass the section, or the boys doing airs, or get into the barrel. Get in the
Bring the camera.
get in, get out. So the speed is always like that, you know. So because the board is gonna get stuck. When you slow down, you don't have the speed. Okay, you take off and go. So you try to. a little snap, but it's not really snap. You try to, but if you come, speed's going. So you can't really drive way more your board if you create a speed to apply that.
I suggest that speed is a tricky conversation because you'll notice like really good surfers or great athletes will always have plenty of time to do what they're doing. They have like all the time in the day. They're relaxed and they can slow down things and they can speed things up at will and they can manipulate the pace of things. So speed is one of those things where particular notice for intermediate surfers, beginners, intermediates are trying to get down the section of the wave, trying to think that they have to be down there, and so not understanding the actual power source that's right down underneath their feet. So your nervous system is like anxious, so you stiffen up, and then you're less able to use the speed part of the wave, which is the top. The speed part is like the top third of the wave. That's the spot. You want to get to that spot, and so to understand and notice where that is, and it's always changing. It's playing. They're giving us all the information we need to get maybe past the section. But if we're not noticing and we're thinking down the line and we're not seeing it right there, we miss the opportunity to get to there and then get speed back. So it's just as we know, surfing's like a four-line thing. In gravity, we get more speed by getting back to the power source, that top third of the wave. So speed, but then again, we have to come back to the pace of what she's doing. And I call the ocean a her because it's so complex. I don't understand her all, but she gives me all the information when I'm listening. And so speed is one of those things that is it's something to be learnt over time.
My surf being improved a lot. What the day I put in my mind, I had to improve that. So I broke down my pattern is good. I'm being to as neuroplasticity and thinking apply into the takeoff of my mobility is going good, but I try to get in the bottom 10 when I have an open face on the wave. But I know if I get to the speed, I can improve way more into my 10s, or even can get better on bottom 10s to apply the 10s. Because as Tom said, sometimes you miss in one section because you didn't have enough of speed to pass. Like today I took off maybe 4 or 5 waves. They look good, but they broke in front of me. I said I'm gonna pass that. And pull. I hold, pull, but I was just there. Lost. But the thing, like, I try to put in my mind more into, because I'm learning now to move my hip a bit more to deliver that speed, but I try to apply more to see and get a control of the board to be able to apply the top turn, carve, cut back, all the maneuvers. So I'm not being worried too much. It's crazy to do a big top turn or getting crazy big carve if I don't get the right speed to do it. Because sometimes you take off what you think, I'm gonna hit. But as I say, you're doing that hit, but not. And you see these guys, like, when we saw Tom yesterday's fun, we were just surfing, you can, I get the right speed, I'm gonna, bottom 10, I'm gonna open my arms, I'm gonna see that big carve, I can do it, but why? Because I had the right speed to apply.
Definitely when you say flow is a very big thing.
Yep. So getting the flow, it's Tom's side. need to flow. We need to even get to that speeding happen. You know? So when you talk about speed is issues, learning the glide to get in the flow, even the wave when you're glide. Read the wave, it's important. Flow to get that happen. Tightness. Okay, so when you get speed, is similar things of the same, like joints would be using before. We break each joint for each pattern, but we ended up, when we're doing the training work, we ended up in similar joints. Okay, so we still we need to get a mobility on the ankle, I need to get mobility to my hips, I need to make my knees stable as well for delivery. Move to learning and be able from that. Okay, working mobility, stability, connection. It's so important to learning. I think a lot of people doesn't have is it connects the body to apply that glide to get into the speed to be on the flow.
Obviously, you don't bump because there's a lot of guy.
Yeah.
Trying to get to the wave.
Yeah.
How do you do with your body?
You watch Tom, he's not doing
No,
that.
how do you do completely with your body to get more speed?
I'm going here. So again, in. So I drive that way. Because I'm feeling the glide on the board to give it that way. But as Tom says, sometimes you can speed, I'm going to the top of the wave, come down, go top of the wave, and always try to be more the third part of the wave, more not on the bottom. That's where you're getting more speed. As soon as you're going down the wave, you lose the speed.
It's have to stay in the 1/3 or something.
Yeah, she's 1/3.
So our eyes should, you know, sometimes because wherever our eyes are going, that's where we're going.
It's like
So if I'm taking off and I'm looking down like that, I'm going to go straight there and stay there. So then the wave hits us from behind and we come on. So if we take off on the wave, and we all know that you just sort of look at where, say, the point, you take off, I take off on the backside, I'm facing my shoulders to the front. I'm not facing my shoulders to the side and having my shoulders, I can't even see what's going on.
Yeah.
So I'm taking off, I'm facing to the front, I can see what's down the line, and then I sometimes don't go to the top bottom of the wave at all to do the bottom turn. I just take off and go to the middle of the wave, and then look on these sort of waves on the point, look for that top third of the wave. And then if it's sort of not much wall, I'll just look back to see where I can go back to the power source. And I can go back to the top third of the wave and hit the water. Hit the white water, come back down. Then I usually end up at the bottom of the wave. First thing I'm looking for is the top third, is, you know, to get towards that next section. The great thing about the point, it's just giving us that information all the time on the waves.
All
So
the
it's
time.
not like on the northern beaches, we've got like maybe, unless you're surfing Ferradale or something like that, but we've got just beach breaks, and we've got to really like find the opportunity very quickly and be very swift. Whereas a point break, we get a chance to kind of observe where we put ourselves and experiment a little bit with
It's
ourselves.
awesome. So beyond the points, like you have that way. When before we jump in the water today, I told you guys what we should look into. So we have a practicing what we spoke yesterday about compress, bend on the knees. No, try to get a big glide happen. Don't worry about turns because the wave give that to you. You know, it's so important to give that and get into the spin, as you say, not tap, you go in, up, in, no, so I'm here, you go. No, I just.
And that kind of comes also from our thinking that we need to generate more. And quite often the waves got plenty. So, and just experiment with yourself on that movement to sort of feel the wave a bit more. It's quite often bouncing around and sort of trying to dominate the situation.
And you lose the speed. You lose a lot of speed at that. No, and like if you see some pros doing, they get like break small waves, but this guy, the way they step, they boom, 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 they don't. So it's different. You can hear them go, boom. They throwing the board on top of the foam and bounce, but big bounce. The time you're doing 5-6 bounce, they doing just one, boom, and back. When you get this switch, but that's one in very small ways. But they still like looking for the glide, the speed. Perfect. So you know if you want to practice more and get it, long waves always helps a lot. Point breaks, you know. When the wave pool be open, we're making a coaching day at the wave pool. That's big because the wave is the same, never change, and you can practice in that way. That's the good thing of the wave pools. Yeah. Yeah. So. So next one. When we get into the speed, I'll talk to about lunges pattern. So lunges, when we're doing lunges, if you move, it's what helps to connecting for that movement when we speed thing. And we get this strength, create stability, all different types of lunges to help the strength and movement happen. Okay. Top 10. Alright, big one. Probably to get at that point, it's so important to dominate all that, mastering all the area. Okay? Or if you want to really improve yourself. Top 10, we're gonna get it the last one. As I said to you guys, I'll try to even get all the speed happening before, okay, I'm